So I have written and published another 3 books, so it's time for another recent releases video. These are the only 3 books I've published in 2024, I believe. I'm pretty sure. I've got a short story collection, a standalone, and a continuation of a series. So the first book that I published this year was Truth or Dare, which is the short story collection. We have a lot of Odds Boys series in here. Ignore the thunder, please. It's very loud. Got a lot of Odds Boys series in here. Not series, stories in here. So we'll kind of go through those a little bit because I can't really give you any sort of synopsis because it's stories. So we have Understudy, which is just a little one. Ohio is for emo kids, which is about Vic and Matt. Because Vic is my favorite character in the entire series, I've discovered. Pit Stop, which is an older one. The Horror at Camp Jelly Jam Cat #1, which is an essay about my cat. Put a little picture there. Truth or Dare, which is an Odds Boys one. This kind of is a... It explains how the whole Zeke and Quinn thing happened before the Quinn book comes out, which will tell us a little bit more about that. But it takes place like right after One More Sad Song finishes up. Matt Klein, which is just about Matt. So if you want to learn more about Matt, but you don't want to read until I fall away, there you go. Mile Marker 342, which was originally published in the Northern Narratives 2023. I Hate the Cloud, which was also originally published in Northern Narratives 2023. It's an essay. Over and Under, which is kind of, it's got the same characters as the Vendetta series, but it's not. I wrote that before I wrote Vendetta. I just took the characters and then made it a different situation. Still like about a heavy metal band, but I made it demons instead of other stuff. The Bat Bit the Children, which is just very short. Stuck, which was my attempt at romantasy, and it's so long. It is the longest story. It is 20 pages long, and nothing else even comes close to that. But yeah. That is that. After that, I wrote, which is what is currently my favorite book. You may notice if you follow me on Twitter that this is the book that I pushed the most. And it is, I love it so much. It's my new favorite book that I've written. It took over from Like Hell, and also whatever Odds Boys book was currently my favorite. I think recently my favorite has been the Matt one. But that is Guillaume. And first of all, I love the cover. I bought this cover. I commissioned this cover from Larissa Katz. Whatever. I'll put a link to her Twitter down below. I think I'm gonna have her do Cats at the Approach too, which I'm also planning coming out with later this year if I ever finish the fucking Kevin book. But Guillaume is, you take Exquisite Corpse, you add Lord of the Flies, you mash them together, and you have Guillaume. So I'm gonna read the back to you here. We have 6 years ago, 42 boys crashed on an island of the Caribbean. Only 15 of them made it back alive. Now in his first year of college, Ashton Collins is trying to keep his life normal. But turning 18 means that Guillaume Margot, the purported antagonist of the island, has been let out of the psychiatric ward he's lived in since their rescue. And Guillaume getting set free means that Ashton has to confront something he'd rather keep inside. For example, the fact that he was Guillaume's right-hand man. When Guillaume shows up as Ashton Collins' roommate, Ashton is faced with a decision. Does he slip right back into his role at Guillaume's side? Because Guillaume has a list, and he's not resting until every boy who made it back from the island alive is dead. I also have a nice little blurb here that you can pause and read if you'd like to. I love Guillaume so much. It's written in 3 parts. No, 4 parts, I'm sorry. We have part 1, Ashton Collins. Let's get the story straight. That's the biggest part. They get smaller the farther you go on. After that one, we have part 2, William Black, The Island. Which of course goes back in time. Part 3, Guillaume Margot, After. And part 4, Adam Nicholson, End. I love this book so much. Of course, we've got the author's note at the end, which I always do. Again, like I do think that this is the only one of my books that I'm comfortable calling a horror novel. I realize, like, yes, the Horror at Camp New Woods is literally a slasher, and the Vendetta books are, I guess, they're horror novels. I would call them horror novels, and really even like killers with cookies. Those, I call them thrillers, but they're not thrillers. They're horror novels. They have like new match. But this one is, you could maybe, I don't know. I don't want to call this extreme horror because first of all, I hate extreme horror. I do. I like splatterpunk, but I think that extreme horror is just so clinical because they want to make sure that you understand everything that's going on, that they forget to like inject any feeling into it, and it comes out really just like fluorescent lights and dull. But we do have preteens eating each other in here, so if that interests you. But yeah, no, I think this is currently my best book that I have ever written. We got Guillaume and Ashton on the front. It's fantastic. Okay. And then my most recent release is Class B, which is a companion continuation of the Pentology of Hell. It's just a Pentology of Hell number 6 up here. This one, the main series for the Pentology of Hell, is Scary It Through, Son of Perdition. They're done. They're over. However, we've got lots of novellas and stuff coming up. This just happened to be the first one. It's not a novella. It's a full-length novel. But minor spoilers for the Pentology. I'm going to read the back here. After Niklaus's revolution, Julia Greenwood is homeless. A decades-long resident of Division 78, she's decided to explore hell with her half-vampire friend Leah. Unfortunately, their first adventure lands them in the cells underneath the bookstore, but they're rescued before too long by a Class B angel with a serious chip on his shoulder. Casey Byer wants nothing more than to go through hell unnoticed, and especially wants nothing to do with anyone he spent the majority of hell with. But Julia has a way of getting under his skin. Is it time to go even farther back? What even happened to his friends from life, let alone death? So this is, we got, again, written in parts, point of view chunks. That's how I started. That's how we started this journey with the Pentology. The Pentology has always had point of view chunks. I guess technically this is kind of the same thing with the point of view chunks. But I digress. We do have the point of view chunks in here. We start with Hell Post-Revolution, Julia Greenwood. Then after that... Portland, Oregon, November 1993, Casey Byer. So we do get some serious Casey backstory here. If you've read Byer, a lot of this is kind of rehashed, but it is from Casey's point of view this time and not random people. So Byer was really just an experiment for me personally, because I was curious because I just read Fantastic Land. I wanted to try an oral history. That's what it was. And then finally, Hell Post-Revolution, Casey Byer. So there's that. There will be more Pentology books forever and ever, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, these are my most recent releases. If I can convince you to buy any one of these, let it be Guillaume. But as always, they're all on Kindle Unlimited, and also they're all 99 cents on Kindle if you don't have Kindle Unlimited. So I subscribe to the Nora Sakovic school of their ebooks. 99 cents, or as low as Amazon will let me for the rest of my life. But yeah, they are also in paperback. This one in hardcover as well as paperback. All the Pentology books have been in hardcover as well as paperback. And that is all.